Get ready for jaw-dropping moments as you watch this idiot, cops. Shocked when arrested by FBI compilation. You won't believe the incredible twists and turns as law enforcement officers find themselves on the wrong side of the law. In this video, we delve into some truly remarkable instances where law enforcement officers arrested individuals who, as it turns out, held high-ranking positions within the FBI.
You think? That's an illusion. You think?
It's a jaw-dropping exploration. So let's dive right in. One of the most intriguing encounters unfolds with a South Sudanese citizen who was quietly going about his business when police officers approached, seemingly assuming he was someone else entirely. Right from the outset, the man alleges racial profiling, sparking a heated exchange that eventually leads to him being handcuffed. Now, the tension escalates as the man repeatedly urges the officers to check his identification. After a prolonged standoff, they finally oblige, and what follows is nothing short of comical.
Yep. And I'm gonna follow the report on you, and you. Because you guys are all stupid.
The realization hits them like a ton of bricks when they discover that the man is, in fact, an FBI agent. The shock etched across their faces is priceless. This encounter stands as one of the ultimate messing with the wrong guy moments. The man wisely requests a supervisor, and when he arrives, he boldly asks for the officer's identification cards, humorously asserting, "Because you guys are all stupid." By this point, the officers have fallen silent and the supervisor appears visibly shaken, knowing that their jobs may hang in the balance after this astonishing revelation. In this scenario, a police officer engages in a conversation with a man who claims to be an FBI agent. The man goes to great lengths to prove his identity, even displaying his credentials to the skeptical cop.
Advanced wiring company.
Do you work for a wiring company?
Further.
It's a covert vehicle, sir.
Okay.
However, despite these efforts, the officer remains distrustful and decides to call the station to verify the man's story, specifically inquiring about the vehicle's wiring company. Upon receiving confirmation that the vehicle is associated with a wiring company rather than a government agency,
You can't tell me how you got my information.
the man insists that it's a covert vehicle. To further complicate matters, the man reveals that he initiated the call to the cop, leaving the officer perplexed about how the man obtained his phone number. At this point, the cop informs the man that he is being detained due to his lack of cooperation.
See the registration, sir.
I don't really want anything from you at this point. My supervisor's on the way.
Excellent.
Although the officer refrains from handcuffing the man immediately, tension continues to mount. When the man offers to provide his vehicle registration, the cop declines, indicating that he is awaiting his supervisor's arrival. As the situation unfolds, the captain communicates with colleagues over the radio and identifies the man as Special Agent Hatton from Jacksonville. However, the radio communication seems unreliable at first, causing some confusion. Eventually, unable to confirm the man's identity, the officers decide to place him in handcuffs.
Started complaining of shortness of breath, vision loss.
After spending some time in a police car, the man requests an ambulance, claiming he needs medical attention urgently. When the ambulance arrives, the cop explains the entire situation to the paramedics. The man complains of shortness of breath and vision loss as he is being prepared for transportation in the ambulance. Throughout this ordeal, the officer attempts to justify his actions, stating that while the man did indeed turn out to be legitimate, his behavior had raised suspicions, leading to his initial detention. The video begins with the arrest of a man who is placed in handcuffs. One of the officers questions the man about his credentials. The man asserts that the FBI had issued these credentials during his tenure with the agency. In response,
So the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used in the court of law. If the right to talk to an attorney have been present with you prior to any questioning if you wish one. Sure. If you cannot afford one will be provided to you by the courts.
the cop proceeds to read the man his Miranda rights, reminding him of his right to remain silent and the right to an attorney.
Per NRS, unless you're a sworn officer.
I know in Nevada everybody does.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have red and blues.
The officer also clarifies that if the man cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for him by the courts. The arresting officer mentions the reason for the arrest, citing the man's use of red and blue lights. He explains that unless someone is a sworn officer, it is illegal to have such lights. However, his attention returns to the man's credentials and expresses surprise that the man had worked for the FBI.
Job?
Yeah, it's my part-time job and I have my own cybersecurity company.
The man then discloses that he had contracted with both the FBI and the Department of Justice. He proceeds to explain his current occupation and destination, revealing his contract with Southwest Gas as his primary job. and his part-time role in his own cybersecurity company. The video cuts off at this point, leaving the subsequent events unclear. However, it becomes evident that the officers realized they had apprehended the wrong individual. This instance highlights a case where law enforcement officers initially acted without full information and later had to confront their error.
Yeah, now let's double pull that. 3359.
Hey, turn around, let me see your hands. Turn around, let me see your hands. Okay, let me see your hands. I need to see some ID. Get on the ground! Get on the ground now! Get on the ground!
What's your deal?
The scene unfolds with the police officer shouting at a man, demanding to see his hands and ID. The man complies, obediently getting on the ground, but he seizes the opportunity to inform the cop that he is a federal agent. However, instead of diffusing the situation,
You didn't ask for it.
He is at 3359.
Get on the ground, we'll figure it out.
Drive on that 10-8.
Not getting on the ground.
Well, then stay where you're at.
I'll stay where I'm at.
Fine. Why do you got to make this harder than it is?
Listen, I'm not getting on.
I have no problem making this.
I just want to see if anybody's in 3 precinct to respond as well.
You're the
Copy.
overreacting.
I'm not overreacting. We got a call that someone's impersonating a police officer out here and doesn't have ID.
No kidding, because she doesn't want to open it.
Okay, get on the ground so I can find out who you are.
It ain't happening.
Okay, fine.
this revelation incites the cop to become even more aggressive. He escalates the encounter, brandishing his gun and aiming it at the man. Throughout this tense interaction, the man tries to show the officer his credentials, but the cop remains steadfast in his demand for the man to lie on the ground. As backup arrives, the man has no choice but to comply, reluctantly getting on the ground.
Face down, on the ground. Face down now. Face down.
You guys gotta make a big mistake.
You're fine. We'll settle in a second. Settle down. Face down now. All the way down. All the way. All the way.
My ID right here, left pocket. Left pocket.
And we're gonna put your arm behind your back.
Do not resist.
I'm not resisting.
You're acting like a
moron.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Don't do this. Wait a second. I got a medical condition. Get my license out of my pocket.
We're getting you hurt first.
Wait. No. Hold on. I'm hyperventilating. Please. Wait, please, sir. I'm not. Would you please get my ID out of my left pocket? I'm begging you. My wife's please. It's right here. Please get it. I got one cuff on. Sir, help me up. Just hold me up. Sir.
The officers proceed to arrest him, and when the man requests calmly that they give him some air due to a medical condition, they disregard his plea. Instead, they instruct him to move his legs and get into the police car. When the man hesitates to follow their orders, the officers resort to using a taser on him, forcibly placing him inside the vehicle. Despite the man's pleas for an ambulance, his medical condition, and the distressing turn of events, the officers proceed without showing empathy or concern for his well-being, further raising questions about their actions during this encounter. That's all for this video. Subscribe if you want to watch more.